alaikum. Second of all, just 2 weeks ago, Representative Gosar was censured and had his committee script. And then you obviously said you obviously released a statement yesterday saying you would not accept, essentially not accepting Representative Boebert's apology. What would be the substantive actions you want to see from Representative Boebert? And do you want to see another censorship of Representative Boebert or her losing her committee memberships in the way that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene was and Representative Gosar was? Sorry, please.
No, that's good. That's good.
No, I'm deferring to the dean because the dean has been working with leadership to find the appropriate resolution. What we do know and what we will say is that this kind of hateful rhetoric and actions cannot go without punishment. There has to be accountability. I remember reading this statement after the last censure from Speaker Pelosi. And I remember her explicitly saying that we have to restore honor and decency. And if and when the Republican conference fails to do so, it is going to be our job to do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Congresswoman Omar, I'm wondering if you've personally heard from anyone in House GOP leadership apologizing or offering any sort of heartfelt message to you in the wake of these comments.
I think the only Republican I have seen speak up, current Republican speak up on this has been Adam Kinzinger. I have not heard from Republican leadership, and I have not heard from any other Republican as well.
Why do you think why do you think that Minority Leader McCarthy has been silent so repeatedly on these sorts of outbursts we've seen from Republicans in this conference?
I can't speak for him. You have to ask him this question. What I will say is that the silence speaks for itself. If they want to get rid of this kind of toxic, hateful behavior in their conference, they have to take action.
Congresswoman Omar.
Yeah, yes, ma'am, and then you, sir, ma'am.
So would a
We have 3 minutes left.
would a resolution against Islamophobia be enough in your mind, like a reprimand or something like that?
We have already passed resolutions condemning Islamophobia. This is a problem that exists within the Republican conference, and that is the problem that needs to get addressed.
Should they be expelled?
Yes, sir.
Congresswoman Omar, what do you think is the appropriate punishment for Representative Boebert's conduct?
I will say that my call has been for there to be an appropriate action taken. The decision on what it would be deemed for it to be appropriate and to bring back decency and honor to this House is something that leadership has to decide.
On top of that,
Two more questions, ma'am.
Is expulsion, do you think, appropriate in this instance?
I think it's appropriate for us to ask the question, should such behavior be allowed? And is it becoming of a member of the House to behave this way? And when that question is answered, then the appropriate action can be taken.
Sir.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, thank you for holding this event and sharing what's obviously a very difficult moment. I did want to ask you, though, on some level, do you think that you are giving Representative Boebert what she seeks, which is a bigger platform, notoriety, publicity, and the ability to use that to raise more money and further her own political prospects?
That is a really good question. And I think a lot of us think about that. And, I look back to the hate that my predecessor endured. And I know that many of you, even the statements that I've read out of the things that he's experienced, both from former colleagues of the Minnesota delegation, from the media, from other members, you have not probably heard of those statements. You probably don't know it happened. And I think if we continue to make the choice to stay silent, the behavior continues and it continues to cause harm. We know that in almost all the incidents that have taken place in the last few years, whether it is the deadly incident in Australia, New Zealand, or it is the deadly incidents that have taken place in Canada, Republican pundits have been quoted in the manifestos of those killers. And this is what happens when we don't call out this kind of hateful rhetoric. It takes hold. These people are speaking to an audience already. They are festering hate. And I have said time and time again, there's a through line between what is said about me by Republican pundits, what my colleagues have said, what the former president have said, and the death threats that I receive, and the people that are already incarcerated for threatening my life. And so, no, I can't worry about whether I'm giving her a platform or not.
Yeah,
I am worried about the number of Muslim lives that are at risk, and what is it that we can do to protect them.